Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Hail Yes podcast. I am your host, Hailey Gamba. How is everyone doing today? I am going to be so transparent with you guys. I am fighting for my life right now. I know, that's a little bit dramatic, but the pollen this year is out of control. I have never been the person to struggle with allergies. Growing up, I never was like a sneezer or someone who would have to clear my throat. I never had itchy eyes. I never took allergy medication. And when I turned 25, that was when I started noticing that the pollen was affecting me. Well, I'm 27 and this is probably my worst allergy season yet. I wake up every day with my eyes swollen shut. My throat is extremely scratchy and it feels like it has very dusty particles in it. And thankfully, my sinuses are okay, but I just feel a little bit sick. That's the best way to describe it. Now, I'm a little bit of a dramatic, and I also tend to be someone who lives in denial as well. So I have not been taking allergy medication, but I have been drinking lots of tea and just trying to wash my face just in case, there's pollen on it for when the wind blows or whatever. I probably should get to the store and get some Allegra because this is ridiculous. That being said, I'm so happy to be back. I apologize for the frog in my voice. You guys know I'm always apologizing for my voice anyways, so you're kind of used to it. But it's just, my goodness, this allergy season is out of control. Aside from that, I had a really great week. I hope you did as well. I had a very productive week. I also posted a video on YouTube again. It's been 2 weeks. I took a 2-week break because I had so much going on. I was traveling. I had things going on at the house. So whenever I have people working in my home, it's very difficult for me to work at home. And I also just had a bunch of different things that I had to attend. So I haven't really been home much. And when I have been home, there were things going on at the house. Actually, my air conditioning had an issue a few days ago. And I had to have my HVAC guy come out here and fix that because it's getting warmer here in Jersey. And the last thing we need is for me and the Huskies to be sweating in the house. So thankfully, it was just a wire trip. I was a little bit worried that it was going to have to be something that was going to cost me an arm and a leg because my condenser outside of my home, the fan wasn't spinning. So I was hoping and praying that my condenser wasn't broken because that needing to be replaced would have been a nightmare. But thankfully, it was just a wire trip and he was able to fix it and all is well. So my house is nice and cool. The rain has started, which is a good thing. Hopefully it's just going to wash away some of that pollen. So everything is on the up and up. I don't know if you guys are like me, but when I date, I tend to date in seasons or stints. So let's just say I start seeing someone and we went on one date and then the next week we went on a second date and then the third week we went on a third date. I really like to focus on that one person. Now, I know people would say, see multiple people at once, have a little bit of a roster because that's how you don't get super invested. But I know myself. How I like to authentically show up is by giving a healthy amount of time to someone and giving them the opportunity to have that attention in my life. And if I feel like they're not my person, then we end things. It's not a big deal. So I was dating for a bit and now I'm back to not dating. And I find that what I like to do is to take breaks in between people. This allows me to reflect, for me to get excited about dating again, and for me to just be able to focus on myself. I think that the reason why people tell you to roster date and to not get super invested is to avoid needing to pick back up again with your life, which I totally understand and respect. And I really remind myself constantly that it's not that deep and you don't need to let every single experience in your life take something out of you and remove a layer of happiness or just of hope from your life. So I don't allow dating to impact me negatively. But that doesn't mean that I don't need to take a beat after people. I just like to do it for my own sanity and peace. It's self-preservation. I don't feel this incessant need to see people continuously until I meet my husband. And the reason why is because I am not dating because I need to fill my time with people. I am dating because I want to meet someone, and I like to do that organically. A lot of the people that I have dated in the past few months have been people that I've met through others or have met out versus online dating, which I'm not against online dating. I've actually had some really great experiences from it. But my best experiences, or I should say the experiences where I've felt the most authentic and have felt flowed the easiest, were with people that I have met through others that I knew. I've been able to kind of refocus on work and life and just my plans for the summer. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited to be single this summer. And I am such an astrology girl that I noticed that a lot of like the astrologers were saying that Cancers are probably gonna find love within the latter half of 2025. And I normally don't really like to feed into that, but I don't know. I intuitively feel like this might be my last crazy summer. Now, I don't want to put that into the universe that that's exactly how it's going to go, but I don't know. My intuition is telling me that like this is my last intentional single hot girl summer. So to just kind of enjoy it and live it up, and that there will definitely be a shift in my life when, next year hits. Now, I say all this to say that I really wanted today's topic to be about how to keep your standards without losing your softness. I think this is so crucial in dating because a lot of us fear creating boundaries with people because we think it's going to make someone not want us, or that they're going to find it difficult to be with us, or we just don't know how to set them properly to where it showcases a feminine aura that we're really proud to have. I used to be someone who would control everything and micromanage everything in my life. And not that it would come off masculine, but it definitely would not come off soft. It just wouldn't. Being soft is just kind of flowing with life and letting life show you and guide you, and still being someone who has integrity, who has goals for herself and standards and morals that she really is setting out to get. I think for me, what standards really mean is that it's just boundaries rooted in self-worth and not in ego. And a lot of the times when I would create a standard for myself, it did have a lot to do with ego. So I wanted to really just create a more clear and concise version of that prior to stepping into dating again. Standards are more about clarity and not about control. And that was something that I needed to understand in order to walk into the next chapter of my life. So I just had a dating experience that ended, and something that I'm really proud of in that ending is that I made my standards clear, and when they were not accepted, I was able to walk away with the closure I needed, which honestly created clarity and it created peace, and it allowed me to feel really fulfilled in my decision. Now, I think the difference between my previous harsher self and my new softer self is that my soft self is about creating boundaries in a way that best suits what I'm looking for in my life, and it also still is being presented in a way that is well received versus, it being intimidating. So like examples of like soft boundaries that you can create with yourself in dating is that you don't chase energy. You respond to consistency. Something that I would really love to highlight in my previous dating experience that I just had. And this was something that I'm really, really, really happy with, that kind of highlighted something special within the next chapter of my life. And it's that I have finally only wanted to entertain situations in which someone was being consistent with me repeatedly. And then I got to decide if that was someone that I wanted to entertain. I think in the past, because I was super controlling, I would have my eyes set out on someone. I would manifest them. I would think about them. I would position myself to like be seen by them, to be spoken to by them. And that was me trying to control and micromanage the situation. Even if the person didn't necessarily notice it, it was still a chasing energy. And how I was able to show up in this last experience was that I was kind of living my life, doing me. And this person kept popping up and showing up. And at first, I wasn't super receptive to it because I was busy. I wasn't sure if I really wanted to go out with this person. Just really wasn't sure if I wanted to see anybody at the time. One thing that he kept doing was he kept kind of being consistent by like texting me, asking me to do things, trying to set a date and a time. It allowed me to kind of sit in my divine feminine and only go and only speak to him or only accept it if it was presented to me. So soft boundaries are not chasing anything and only responding to consistency, only allowing someone who is consistent in their actions and in their words to show up for you. And if you like them enough to receive it, then you can. Now, of course, there are plenty of people that we will come across who will maybe be consistent with us that we don't want. That is not what this conversation is about. It's about people that we are possibly intrigued by or would want to give a chance to. Another soft boundary that is crucial in dating that has really helped me align with my best self. The boundary of knowing that you really enjoy spending time with someone, but also needing space and time to recharge and prioritize yourself. When we are in a more harsher, more chasing, more masculine version of ourselves, we tend to really not cater to what is necessary for ourselves. And we don't view nurturing ourselves as selfless. We view it as selfish and not in a good way. But really, it's selfless because showing up as your best self for someone means that you need to pour into your own cup as well. So in my dating experiences now, I do really require more time between me and a person. Or when I was younger, I wanted to spend all my time with them. I thought that if we spoke all the time, that it would enhance and make the relationship better, and it would make them like me more. Where now, creating a healthy distance between maybe like 2 dates or when we speak, not needing to always be in a person's face, really valuing the time that is spent and putting my energy into myself majority of the time has been a boundary that has been so good at self-preservation. Like, it has really helped me have more clarity in how I'm feeling. Because when you're burying yourself in a person constantly, it's hard to really take inventory as to what is going on in the situation. And I really like when I have enough time to sit with myself and say, like, do I miss this person? Do I like this person? Do I enjoy being with this person? Is this person right for me? Whatever and whatnot. And having like that time to think and also to focus on myself at the same time. And another example of like a soft boundary that, you can create within yourself is like being open to love, but not begging for it. So again, like not closing yourself off, not being someone who is, upset or feeling like dating is something that you're doing begrudgingly and you're doing it out of anger or jadedness, but just saying like, no, I'm open to something good, but if it doesn't feel like it and I'm not seeing it, then I'm not going to beg for it. I'm not going to ask more times than once. Like if somebody tells you, they don't want something serious, they don't want to be with you long term, they're not showing you in their actions, even what they're saying to you, you're just going to keep pushing on with life until you meet someone who will, because there will be somebody who shows up and gives you exactly what it is that you're looking for. You just have to keep going. Next, really what you have to do is you have to really stay grounded in your standards. So if you're someone who really wants to keep your standards without losing your softness, you need to figure out what your standards are and why they're important to you. So the first thing really to do is to journal your non-negotiables and definitely like reread them, add to them. I know for me that I used to really be on top of that. And then I was like, oh, I'm just going to kind of let things go with the flow. And I regret being that person because it made me forget about all the things that I found important, and I was kind of just going off of vibes. And although that sometimes can be helpful in certain aspects, it's not when it pertains to your standards. So kind of write out like what you won't settle for, what you deeply desire, what things you're looking for in a partner, reread them constantly or add to the list, but definitely like journal them out so you have them. And also like check in with your body and see like if something feels off, listen to your gut. Okay, you want to be someone who is an intuitive thinker, but doesn't really allow yourself to psych yourself out of good things. A lot of the times we can have a trauma that has happened to us in the past that kind of confuses us in our discernment. So we're not super good at being able to discern whether somebody is being genuine or whether somebody is, being disingenuous, because maybe we think when someone is showing up for us in a healthy way that they're faking it because we've never experienced it the right way. So learning how to listen to your body a little bit more and not your fear, not things that you fear, but your body, your intuition will tell you, it will guide you, and it will make you feel safe, and you will understand people better. Another way to stay grounded in your standards is understanding that your standards are not for everyone, nor are they meant to be shared with everyone. Something that I've learned is that when I can tell that someone is not on my frequency or on my level, I am not interested in convincing them to get there. Once I've recognized that they are not where I need them to be in order for me to really state what I'm looking for, I kind of bow out of the situation because they do not have the emotional capacity to hold the things that I would share. So you have to understand that you don't need to explain everything to everyone. The right people will honor those things. And over-explaining is a form of self-betrayal because it's almost like you're trying to convince them of who you are rather than just showing them. I also think that taking your time is so crucial in dating, and it's something that isn't discussed enough because everyone has like that instant gratification mentality where they need something right now. Understanding that you don't actually need to rush clarity. Not everything becomes clear immediately. It takes time, especially in getting to know someone. So allowing there to be a time frame in which you are meant to know things and meant to feel things. Standards hold up best when you're not afraid to lose what isn't aligned. So when you are just kind of tapping into your divine feminine and you are still practicing, your habits and you're staying soft and you're staying grounded, you don't necessarily have this mentality of, I'm so afraid I'm going to lose this thing. Because a secure, safe, and well-rounded person is never afraid to lose something that is not aligned for their life. So keep that in mind, put that in your affirmations, and it will allow you to feel really good in your decisions and in how you move in dating. Now, I can imagine that some people have a really hard time connecting with their feminine energy. This is something that can stem from childhood, from you being hyper independent. Maybe you're the firstborn daughter. Hello, we are definitely twins there. It can just be a multitude of things. So I would really recommend in this time to reconnect with your feminine energy. Rest, reflect, receive, stay in your heart and not in your hyper independence. Listen, it has gotten you so far and it's such a beautiful thing, but in dating, you don't need to always boast or wear on the outside how independent you are, how self-sufficient you are, and how well you can hold space for just your emotions and just you has to hold it. Allow yourself to receive, have someone do things for you, to have someone be the provider, to have someone, be masculine and show you the way. And it doesn't always have to be about money. It could just be about safety, security, and just being someone who's secure with a person. And it allows you to kind of shut your brain off. So reconnecting with your feminine energy just requires some reflection and allowing yourself to receive. And I think a huge component, and this has been so helpful in me staying soft while maintaining my standards, it's letting go with grace when your standards are not met. When we are really genuinely in our soft girl era, you have to understand that people are going to let you down. They're going to not be aligned. They are not going to want what you want. They're not going to be who you want. And letting go with grace is the best thing you can do. Rather than holding grudges, rather than getting angry, rather than convincing, rather than stooping to their level, you can just release without resentment. You do not have to fight to prove your worth because you are inherently worthy of the things that you want. And until someone is willing to give you that, there is no need to convince anyone. So I have found that something that I would struggle with in previous chapters of my life was when somebody would be really amazing for a long period of time. I mean, there was plenty of guys I dated where they swept me off my feet. They were just the most incredible gentlemen. They were romantic. They gave me everything I wanted. And then towards the end of our dynamic, they showed me a side to them that I really was not pleased with. And it wasn't something that was forgivable because either A, they were faking who they were prior, or B, they just were not aligned with what I was looking for. I used to really try to convince them to get back to who they were in the beginning stages of when I met them, rather than just accepting that this is who they are, rather than just accepting that this is not meant to be. I would really try to put that puzzle piece back in its place, rather than accepting that maybe this puzzle wasn't for me in the first place. Letting go without resentment is your superpower. And it allows you to reflect from a place of love. You get to really take those little nuggets that you learned in each dynamic with a person and carry them into your next. And it kind of cultivates and creates the perfect relationship dynamic for me. There were plenty of things that I didn't realize I wanted until I met someone. And yeah, they might not have been my person, but they did something that I really enjoyed that I want to carry into my next dynamic. Whether that is someone who is very thoughtful or generous or courteous or maybe spontaneous. Maybe did not have that in a previous dynamic, but now, because I've had it with that person, I can now carry it and add it to my list of things that I'm looking for. So you don't have to have this, jaded, sad, upset perspective, but rather than looking at it as an opportunity to get to know what you want even more. I think it's really important to affirm yourself during this time to better understand how important these things are to you. Because I really do believe that if you struggle to believe that you deserve these things, you're not going to do a good job at setting this standard for yourself. So doing the affirmations, rehearsing your boundaries in a safe space, and be very soft with yourself. Like, don't be so critical. Don't, complain about how you're too sensitive or that, you're someone who is just so difficult. Like, replace it with my sensitivity is sacred and my emotions run free and it allows me to love and to nurture and to be a compassionate person. Stop looking at positive traits about yourself in a negative way because it will only keep you stuck and wanting less. Having your frequency be high is so important in staying soft, staying appreciative, and staying abundant. You do not have to shrink your standards to be loved, and you don't have to toughen up to be respected. You're allowed to be soft and strong, firm and feminine. I think that the right people, the right love, the right life, it will never ask you to choose between the two. Getting to know yourself better will allow you to show up in this way, and you'll be able to get closer to your ideal version of love. I find that I strengthen my boundaries and my standards every day without making myself harsher or angry or jaded. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode as much as I enjoyed making it. I cannot wait to chat with you guys again, hopefully with a lot less dust in my throat. All that aside, I love you guys. Have a wonderful week. Let's stay soft together. Let's date with more intention in 2025. Bye, everyone.
Pioneer.